Welcome to the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast. You guys sent in some awesome flash fiction, and we're diving into two of them today. Get ready for action and those crazy twists that flash fiction is known for.
You got it. We've got Shadows over the West with a ninja landing in the Wild West, and then there's Checkmate of Fate where chess gets real. Two wild concepts, but both with that core of conflict that makes for a good story.
Right. Let's kick things off with Shadows over the West. Just the idea is so out there. We've got Ryuji Kurogane, a ninja from way back in 1603 to Japan. He's part of the Shadow Lotus clan, but gets betrayed.
Huge.
Yeah, major betrayal. Now he's on the run with this artifact called the Obsidian Timepiece. Legend has it, this thing can control fate itself. I mean, talk about pressure. What was your first reaction to that setup?
Well, it just grabs you right from the start. The stakes are already sky high. You've got Ryuji running from the Crimson Shogun, a serious warlord who wants to change history, and the Shogun's got assassins on his trail. It's not like Ryuji can just lay low. Then you throw in this Obsidian Timepiece. Who knows what it can really do? What happens if you use it? Big question marks right there.
And when he's completely cornered, no options left, he activates the timepiece. The story describes it as the world-shattering. Intense imagery, don't you think? Not just a change of scenery, it's like reality itself breaks apart for him.
Absolutely. It throws you for a loop as a reader. Suddenly, bam, we're in 1879 Arizona territory. Enter Silas Graves, legendary outlaw about to swing from the gallows. Only thing on his mind is that he never found his brother's killer. Classic Western setup, frontier justice, the whole bit. What did you think Silas compared to Ryuji?
Total contrast. Ryuji comes from this ancient world of tradition and hidden battles, while Silas is in this rough-and-tumble, lawless place. But then the impossible happens. The story literally says the sky cracks open and Ryuji falls right into the town square. Talk about an entrance. Can you imagine seeing that?
It's so absurd. It's brilliant. Gunfire, people yelling, and then time just stops.
Yeah.
That surreal image just throws both Ryuji and Silas into this crazy situation they can't make sense of. Then time starts again. Hangman's dead, Silas is free, and there's this mysterious ninja talking about destiny and wars across time. Two worlds colliding, literally.
And out of that chaos comes a partnership, more like a forced truce. Two guys from completely different times, cultures. They probably couldn't even understand each other at first. The distrust must have been thick.
You know it. But the danger ramps up immediately. The Crimson Shogun and his samurai army, they've followed Ryuji through time, and their goal isn't just catching Ryuji. They want to take over the Wild West. What did you think of that? Samurai conquering cowboys.
Bold move, right? It twists the whole cowboys versus outlaws thing into something way bigger. It's not just about land or gold anymore. It's about changing the past. You've got six-shooters against katana blades, Shuriken versus Colt revolvers. The story really throws you into this clash of fighting styles.
It's not just two sides either. You pointed out these bandit gangs with future tech making things even wilder. What do you think that does to the setting? How does that tech mess with the Wild West?
Throws a major wrench in the works. The usual power dynamics are already messed up by the samurai, but now you've got advanced weapons thrown in, then you've got samurai on horseback trying to force their feudal ways onto the Wild West. Plus, there's this lawman who knows about the time travel and wants the timepiece for himself. Talk about a multi-sided battle.
And all the while, there's this creeping feeling that time itself is falling apart. It's not just about winning a fight. Reality itself is at stake. What did you think about that time unraveling aspect?
It makes you realize how high the stakes really are. It's not just about Ryuji and Silas surviving. Their actions could screw up the entire timeline. It all builds up to this final confrontation. The Crimson Shogun's fortress smack dab in the middle of the Wild West. A classic Western showdown with a mind-blowing time travel twist.
And they've got a tough choice. Destroy the timepiece and maybe lock in this altered history, or risk using it again to change everything, their own lives included. They have to ask themselves, is time more important than what they want?
It's a heavy decision. The final battle sounds insane. Samurai versus gunslingers while time itself breaks down. And it all comes down to one moment, one bullet, one sword swing that could change history forever. How do you think that kind of ending would hit a reader?
It makes you think about the butterfly effect, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how much power does one person really have to change the course of history? Is it fate, or do we have free will? Big questions. Now let's switch gears completely. The second story you picked, Checkmate of Fate, takes us out of the Wild West and into a much more familiar place. A school library.
Yep. We meet Jeremy, a chess whiz who gets bullied. He finds comfort in chess. I think a lot of people can relate to that, finding an escape in something they're good at. What stood out to you about Jeremy at the beginning?
Well, it's that contrast. He's got all this control in chess, this intellectual world, but his real life is totally out of control. Chess becomes his safe space. And then, boom, the story throws you a curveball, an earthquake hits, and suddenly his wooden knight comes to life and starts talking. You don't see that coming.
No, that's what I call shaking things up. And it just gets crazier from there. Jeremy finds out all his chess pieces have superpowers that activate when he moves them on the board. The pawn turns into a bodyguard. The bishop makes a force field. It's so creative. What did you think about the rules of this superpowered chess?
It's pure imagination, but it's got clear rules. The stakes become real. Every move could have real consequences. Then we meet Kyle, another student, who seems to know what's going to happen before it does. He sees Jeremy's powers, and suddenly the tension goes way up.
For sure. And Kyle, being the classic antagonist, challenges Jeremy to a deadly game in the schoolyard. It's not just about winning chess anymore, it's about staying alive. How does that change how we see chess itself?
It becomes more than just strategy. It's life or death. But the strategic thinking is still crucial, except now every move could hurt you. Jeremy has to prepare, not just by studying openings, but by digging into old chess lore, finding weird tactics, understanding what each piece can really do.
And the story doesn't skimp on the action. Kyle's first move, his knight turns into this whirlwind of blades. Jeremy counters with his pawn, who transforms into a fighter. It's like the chess pieces are literally coming to life, showing their power.
And then Jeremy pulls a surprise move, teleporting his queen to threaten checkmate. Super aggressive, unexpected, forces Kyle to show his hand.
Which he does in a big way. His rook explodes, and we see that he's messed with his pieces, giving them extra powers. It even calls back to Chekhov's gun, how that detail was hinted at earlier. What's that tell us about Kyle?
Well, he's not just strong. He's a cheater. He'll break the rules to win. And that puts Jeremy, who's trying to play fair, at a big disadvantage. He's up against someone who can see his moves and doesn't play by the rules. So Jeremy has to get creative. Desperate times, desperate measures.
And his solution is wild. He starts making moves that don't make sense just to mess with Kyle, to throw off his predictions, outsmarting the enemy. What did you think of that?
It shows that even if you can predict someone's logical moves, you can't predict random chaos. Jeremy uses Kyle's arrogance against him. He sacrifices his queen as bait, tempting Kyle to attack his king.
It's risky, but he sees it coming. Kyle goes for the easy win, but Jeremy knew he would. It backfires completely.
Checkmate. And the story just goes silent. It's powerful. Kyle, the bully who seemed unbeatable, is defeated. His posse disappears, and Jeremy, the kid who was picked on, wins. It's not just about the game. It's about finding strength and beating the odds.
Exactly. He's not a victim anymore. He's found power, both through the chess pieces and through his own cleverness and toughness. Both of these stories, they're so different, but they both show how normal people can face crazy situations and find hidden abilities.
Shadows over the West shows you what a mess time travel can be. It makes you wonder about cause and effect, how history is all connected. And with Jeremy and Checkmate of Fate, you see how something ordinary can turn fantastic, how thinking strategically can help you overcome anything, even if it seems impossible.
These stories really show what flash fiction can do. Big ideas, action, thought-provoking stuff, all in a short format, gives you a lot to think about.
That's the beauty of it. It sparks your imagination and maybe gets you thinking about the hidden potential in everyday things, the possibilities that come from conflict.
Well, thanks for sending us these awesome stories, and thanks for listening to the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast. We hope you enjoyed our dive into cowboys, ninjas, and superpower chess. Don't forget to rate and follow for more epic tales.